What if I told you that one of Disney's most beloved animated films accidentally created one of pop culture's most powerful queer icons? Hey, it's Dee Dee from Ladies First, and today we're talking about Disney's Mulan and how a story about family honor became a beacon of hope for LGBTQ+ audiences around the world. Released in 1998, Disney's Mulan tells the story of a young Chinese woman who disguises herself as a man to take her elderly father's place in the army. The film opens with Mulan preparing for a meeting with the matchmaker, a crucial appointment that will determine her worth as a bride. The only problem is she's clumsy, unconventional, and completely unsuited for the delicate, submissive role expected of her. When the Huns invade China and the emperor calls for one man from every family to serve, Mulan's aging father prepares to answer the call despite his war injuries. Unable to watch him march to certain death, Mulan cuts her hair, steals his armor, and transforms herself into Ping, a male soldier ready to serve. What follows is a journey of self-discovery disguised as a war story. But here's where it gets interesting. Disney had no idea they were creating what would become one of the most resonant queer narratives in popular culture. What makes Mulan unique among Disney heroines is that she was the first to be truly in charge of her own story. Unlike her predecessors, romance wasn't her driving force. Honor and duty were. And for Asian LGBTQ+ audiences specifically, Mulan offered something unprecedented, a fairy tale where you could get the boy and be the boy at the same time. With that said, the heart of Mulan's story isn't really about war or honor. It's about mirrors. Throughout the film, Mulan constantly sees her reflection, and it's never quite right. Whether she's looking into actual mirrors, water, or even the curve of her armor, there's always this sense of disconnection between who she sees and who she's supposed to be. Film scholar Jericho Tadeo calls this the queer mirror, that fundamental disconnect that queer people experience when they look at themselves. It's the feeling that you're not meant to be the person others expect you to be, but you can't quite put that distortion into words. The first time we see Mulan truly examine herself is during the Honor to Us All sequence. She's being prepared for the matchmaker, painted, powdered, and transformed into the perfect bride. But this isn't her. This is a performance of femininity that feels completely foreign to her. Then comes the transformation scene. Mulan cuts her hair, a moment that feels sacred, almost ritualistic. She binds her chest, puts on armor, and for the first time in the film, she looks comfortable in her own skin. The most powerful moment comes during reflection. Mulan stares into the family temple's reflecting pool and sings about hiding her true self. The song's central question, about when her reflection will show who she truly is inside, captures something profound about the disconnect between internal identity and external presentation. For countless LGBTQ+ viewers, this wasn't just a Disney song, it was their experience put to music. Here's what makes Mulan's accidental queer reading even more fascinating. The film is absolutely loaded with queer language that Disney somehow lets slip through. One of Mulan's ancestors literally says traditional values will disintegrate when discussing her behavior. Another ancestor calls her a crossdresser. Mushu refers to her as Miss Man and calls her entire journey a drag show. These aren't subtle hints. This is explicit queer terminology being used in a Disney film in 1998. But it goes deeper than just the language. The film is obsessed with gender performance and sexuality in ways that were unprecedented for Disney. Captain Li Shang spends half his screen time shirtless, flexing and showing off his body. Even the final battle sequence has Mulan's fellow soldiers dressing in drag to infiltrate the palace. But here's the most telling detail. The romance between Mulan and Shang doesn't begin when he discovers she's a woman. It begins when Ping, Mulan, presenting as male, knocks him to the ground during "I'll make a man out of you." That's when Shang's expression changes, when the attraction starts. B.D. Wong, who voiced Shang, confirmed in an interview that he always viewed Shang's character as sexually fluid. This is why fans call Shang a bisexual icon and mourn Disney's decision to remove him from the 2020 remake. The original Shang falls for Mulan's strength and spirit when she's presenting as male, then continues to love her when she reveals herself as female. It's attraction to the person, not the gender performance. The queer reading of Mulan wasn't just academic theory, it was lived experience. Reflection became an unofficial anthem for transgender youth. The song's themes of calibrating who you are on the inside with how you look on the the outside, resonated deeply with trans experiences. Social media was filled with covers, reaction videos, and personal stories about how the song helped people understand their own gender identity. What made Reflection so powerful for queer audiences wasn't just its emotional resonance. It was seeing a mainstream Disney character express the exact feelings they'd been carrying in silence. The experience of looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person staring back, of feeling like you're not meant to play the part society assigned you, these weren't just lyrical metaphors for trans viewers, that's exactly what they were going through. For Asian LGBTQ+ audiences, Mulan offered something unprecedented, seeing themselves reflected in a mainstream Disney film. Her struggle with gender expectations, her resistance to traditional feminine roles, her comfort in presenting as masculine, these weren't just plot points, they were daily realities for these people. That's why, for a lot of Asian girls, it was truly empowering to see Mulan be strong, resilient, independent, and decidedly unfeminine. It meant they could explore different identities and ways of presenting without losing their cultural identity or family connections. What makes Mulan's accidental queer icon status so powerful is how it emerged organically from audience interpretation. Disney didn't set out to create queer representation, they simply told a story about someone struggling to find their place in the world. But when explicit queer stories weren't available, LGBTQ+ audiences found themselves in characters whose struggles with identity and belonging mirrored their own experiences. Mulan proved that stories don't have to be explicitly queer to be deeply meaningful to queer audiences. They just have to be honest about the struggle to find yourself in a world that wants you to be someone else. And they have to show that there's more than one way to be strong, more than one way to be beautiful, and more than one way to save the day. In 1998, that honesty was revolutionary. Almost 30 years later, it still is. So what's your take? Did you see yourself in Mulan's story? Let me know in the comments. And if you love more Disney heroine deep dives, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Ladies First.